We're here at the National Kit Car Show at Free County Showground near Malvern, and we've got something a bit different. Now, one of the very first videos we created was about cheap single-seater racing, and this takes it to a whole new level. These are called Cyclekarts, and they are homemade cars, and we're going to find out a little bit more about them because we are going to have a chat with Ian, who is their events coordinator. Welcome in, events coordinator for Cyclekarts GB, is that correct?
Correct.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. Now, Cyclekarts, for a lot of people at home, they won't know what they're about. So what's the sort of ethos? Because it looks like very crudely, like a soapbox with an engine in it.
Yeah, that's about it really. You know, well, say we all, you know, people my age, you know, had soapboxes and that we went hurtling down hills on and grazed our knees and things, and this is just never growing up really. So we've put engines in them. We have quite a loose formula that we work to, and it's just a matter of coming up with your own creation. It's really sort of like man in the shed on what comes out the shed after a few months.
So it's not the case of going, right, I want, you know, an Austin, I'll go and buy the kit. You've got to create it from your basic bits and pieces.
Yeah, so the cars themselves are inspired by a pre-World War II car that had, you know, large wheels, spoked wheels. So you pick a car that you like the look of, and then you create your representation of it. And really, it's a caricature. These are 3/4 scale approximately. The one thing you can't scale is the driver.
So for example, something like this MG here, this would have been a much bigger scale car.
So the area where the driver sits, you can't scale that because you've still got to fit yourself in. So they're not true scale models, they're just caricatures. So you pick out on features of the design and try and replicate those so that somebody, when they look at it, goes, oh yeah, that's a so-and-so. But if you look at it in detail, they're not exact replicas.
So if we come down and have a look at this bare chassis.
Yeah.
So this has literally been created by somebody in the garage from, probably apart from, I imagine, the wheels and the engine, bare materials.
Yeah, and an awful lot of it comes as well. Part of the ethos of the Cyclekarts is repurposing bits and pieces. So it's whatever you've got lying around, whatever you can scrounge off people, whatever you can find in a skip. It keeps the cost down, and it just makes the build interesting. This one here that Jim's building, this is, when it's got the body on, will be inspired by the Auto Union German cars of the late 30s, which had great big drum brakes. These are pizza tins.
Oh wow! Okay, I didn't realise that. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're just pizza tins off the internet. Those.
And the main chassis rails, what are they made from?
I'm not sure what he's made those from, but he's picked up some aluminium tubing from somewhere. You know, he's seen lying around.
And you got plywood skinned with aluminium. You know, I can see the handbrake off a normal car from somewhere.
Yeah.
And engine-wise and driveline at the back here. Now, anyone who's been indoor kart racing will be very familiar with that, won't
Yes.
they? And it's a, 200cc?
Yeah, 200cc. It's a Chinese clone engine. It's a Honda GX200, but you're paying Honda prices for those. So this is just a Chinese reversed engineered Honda. It's Hyundai engine, and these currently at the moment are £132. That's including delivery and a year's warranty.
You are kidding.
No, that's everything. That's the fuel tank. The CVT transmission is an additional extra. That's a Chinese clone of an American variable transmission. They're £67.
So what's that? Just around £200. You got most of your driveline.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And there's no no clutch because you say CVT, so it's an automatic.
Yeah,
You put
yeah,
your
it's
foot
just
down.
centrifugal clutch, and then the belt diameter will vary here on the driver pulley, and it will also vary on the driven pulley. So that will get larger and that will get smaller. So this diameter will change based on the RPM. And this diameter will change based on the load. So if you're going uphill, it will drop it down gear.
So for anybody who's ridden a sort of twist and go moped,
Yeah,
it's a very
that's
similar.
it, yeah.
So if we move back to the axle, now, as somebody who raced go-karts back in the 90s, that has very much the look of a go-kart kind of setup.
Yeah, some people buy all new components. My preference is to buy a second-hand go-kart and then reuse all the parts off it.
And single disc on the back,
Yeah.
which is enough to stop you. And up the front, the suspension and so on. Obviously, it's that kind of retro styling. And,
Yeah,
you know,
so most of us are running on leaf springs, semi-elliptics, quarter elliptics or whatever, some with transverse leaf springs, because this is a car from late in the period that we work with. This had independent front suspension with trailing arms. So what Jim's done here, he's taken a pair of Mazda MX-5 anti-roll bars.
what, these parts?
Yeah, cut them in the middle, added some bit there to change it from a round bar to make it look a bit more appealing, and he was also getting a bit of flex in corners, so that stopped the flex.
That definitely is repurposing.
Yeah.
So you said era. What's the age range of cars that get it inspired by?
It's right up to the start of the Second World War.
Okay. So anything back to the start of sort of Brooklands days.
Yeah.
Brooklands era, really.
Yeah.
So if we move down, I think you're familiar with this one, aren't you?
Yeah, that's my latest one.
Now, say you've gone through all of that, you found a car to be inspired by, you've sat at home and built it, and you've got it up and running. What can you do next with it? How, with Cyclekarts GB, how do you sort of organise the racing and so on?
Yeah. So people say about the racing, and we do a bit of racing, but it's more about miles per smile rather than miles per hour. I've done a lot of circuit racing in the past, and it's wet and that, and everybody's going, we've only got a contact patch, the tyres the size of the palm of your hand. Well, on a cycle kart, your contact patch is the size of your thumb, so they've got no grip. They slide so easy, and they're so easy to hold in a drift and that, and yeah, it's just great fun. So it's more about the driving, just getting out there and drive, and quite often you're out and you'll slow down to let somebody catch up, and it's not like track days in this country where you're not allowed to overtake in corners. We're always dicing with each other through the corners. It's just a lot of fun.
And what sort of circuits do you race at? Is it kart tracks?
Yeah, so we go to a variety of kart tracks. We also come to shows like this if they'll give us a grass area to play on. We go to historic places like Brooklands.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we're at Brooklands in a couple of weeks' time. So we'll be on the old start-finish straight, we'll be on the old bank circuit on Test Hill. So yeah, we're there for a couple of days. We go to Shuttleworth at the end of the year. So we're in with proper original cars from the period. So we'll be running around with those on a track that goes up the grass runway and then round the front of the hangars and that. A couple of weeks ago we were at Bridlington at an event called Race the Waves, and that's hot rods drag racing on the beach. So again, we'll set up an oval circuit there and drive round in the sand, and then do the drag racing down the drag strip as well.
So you've got grass surface like you have here, tarmac or concrete and sand.
Yeah.
So
Grass is the best because they slide more and you don't wear your tyres out on grass, whereas concrete and tarmac, you...
Ian, it's been absolutely brilliant. I'm really impressed with, you know, the inventiveness that
Yeah.
you know that people are coming up with. There's little bits and pieces I can see which are, you know, like your fuel tank here. You know, it's
Well, yeah, that just covers the... Because I run an idler shaft on this, so I can vary the gearing. And that just covers the sprockets for the... But you feel the weight of it.
oh, nothing. And I imagine that's probably quite a big part of it, isn't it? It's keeping the weight down.
Yeah, I mean, so some of the carts are quite heavy. Some of the drivers are quite heavy. But yeah, if you can get the weight down, it's obviously a benefit. But I think it mainly comes down to how well it handles and how well you can slide it and drift it through the corners.
No, I'll say really impressed with this, and I think for the people with that kit car ethos of, you know, recycling, repurposing and building it yourself, you can't get a better form of racing, and as a project like this, it must be a great family project as well. And so if you're more interested in finding out more about Cyclekarts, we'll put a link in the description below so you can find out more, and that will tell you where you can see Cyclekarts across the country later this year.